Okay. Um, my name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him. Tonight I am running Copperhead County, a Fortune Dark game by Jason Ely. This is our fourth of four sessions, so I think we're expecting our Hellraisers to go out with a bang tonight. Um, let's get a quick intro from our players in character keeper order and their characters too, and then we'll jump into the final job, one last job. Will, that is you.
Hi, my name is Will, pronouns he, him, unlike those of my character Hope Harris, who is the wayward daughter of Happy Harris. May he rest in peace, that son of a bitch. The slain patriarch of the Harris clan, who ran the Lucky Number 6 and Lucky Number 7. And Hope is a bit of a fire starter, a bit of a rebel, has an angry streak and has just enough military training to know how to make things go boom, and has her eye on, making a certain rogue crime boss who killed her father go boom, because she was going to kill that son of a bitch, and you took it away from her. So yeah.
How dare he? Ian, how about you?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Ian, pronouns he, him, just like those of my character, Malcolm Preston Harris, or MPH. MPH is the mover of the crew, which means he is like a stunt driver. He's been boosting cars since he was a little kid, playing in bands and generally trying to look after his wayward younger sister, Hope. And as the more responsible member of the family, he has been trying to keep a lid on his feelings of enmity towards Baron Carter, to trying to sort of smooth things out a little bit. But now things have tipped over into the past the point of no return, and Malcolm doesn't have a choice but the only way out is through, I think, is how Malcolm is feeling right now.
Awesome. Thanks, Ian. Chris.
Chris, pronouns he, him, and I am playing Jesse Cutshaw, who is a cousin to the other party members. Jesse is an aspiring, maybe he's an aspiring rapper, maybe he's an aspiring producer, maybe he just wants to get the hell out of Copperhead County and get to Memphis and find some sort of career in the music scene there. But he's trying to pull some jobs to raise enough capital to get out of Dodge. And he has a florid rhetorical style, which I think I finally arrived at as being slick as shit and fire and spit. Is how we're gonna play that. And he's looking forward to doing some facing since I missed the first heist 2 sessions ago.
Awesome. So yeah, I think last session, and I don't think minds have been changed since. We are about to aim our Hellraisers at Baron Carter, a kind of a mid-tier criminal enterprise in the neighborhood. Yeah, I guess the general idea is to, utilize explosives, having done some recce on his kind of normal day-to-day traveling activities, and put those two elements together and see something go boom, right? Okay. As ever, your plan can change. Until we get to the engagement role, nothing is really set in stone. And obviously, even after that, there's flashbacks to fill in the gaps or come up with an aha moment.
Yeah.
But let's start to build a picture in a little bit more detail than we had last week. Chance for some gathering of information. Anyone have any preference to go first, or kind of build a picture up from somewhere particular?
I want to go to the Barnett mob and secure, the prep work here is securing our payment. I think, that like this is what we want. It's also what they want. We're the smaller group who's going to take the risk here and do it. Therefore, like, pay us, basically. Like, go to them with a, here's opportunity knocking kind of thing. So I guess like the information I'm gathering there is the will this third party pay us for our involvement here ultimately?
Okay.
And I guess I'd go to someone who I have a bit of a rivalry with, but who I know is connected to the Barnett mob, Stacey Cahill.
Yeah. So why don't you, describe where you meet Stacey Cahill and like
Stacey steps outside of her pharmacy, right? Like still in a nice white coat, right in the back alleyway in the strip mall that she operates out of, and there's a queue of like locals from Seco Creek, from the old town, lined up out the door looking for it. And she just flips the sign away and says, smoke break, basically. And she goes out into the back and leans against the wall. And as she leans back, there's just Hope, like perched like a goblin on the side of a dumpster, like smoking a big blunt, basically just waiting for it, like peering out of a hoodie, and just go like, "You got enough of selling that shit? Stacey needed a break."
I mean, quality control is everything, Hope. We can't let anyone in or out the door.
Yeah. But as long as they're paying, right? Doesn't fucking matter. Anyway, listen, I'm only here in this shithole because I got a proposition for you. I know you're connected. I know you know the Barnett mob. I know who makes all this work for you. How about we make something work together, right? Something big.
So, do you think that is Stacey just a front, or is she really like a mover and shaker in the Barnett mob?
I think that she's. I think that this is Seco Creek, right? I think that she's actually Stacey Cahill is her husband's name. She's actually Stacey Barnett.
Okay.
Like maybe she's not officially like a mover and shaker in that she doesn't get her hands dirty and stuff like that, but she's someone who's got such pull just by her family, right?
She's going to Thanksgiving dinner, right? Like,
yeah.
And
Cahill's just the name of the doctor from the out of state doctor that she married, right? Like to get this position and start abusing it.
So yeah, I mean, I think if you can convince Stacey, it's as good as done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think this is? I guess what's your approach here?
I mean, I guess this is actually connect. To be perfectly honest with you, because I am attempting to reach others through honesty and reason, right?
Yeah,
which I'm terrible at. Which is why, of course, I brought my my cousin Jesse with me, right? Like to maybe throw in a stress and give me that extra dice.
Sure.
Right?
So I emerged from behind the other dumpster, probably on the other side, so she's sort of feeling a little closed in from either direction, or step out of a doorway or something. Like, hey, we just need a little hand here. We just need a little information. We just need to know a little bit about what y'all's plans are and whether or not you'd be interested in forming a little bit of a partnership with us.
Yeah, you got the money. You can make, taking out Baron Carter. That's a big job, right? You can take Adamstown. We just want to be able to operate out of there without Carter breathing down our necks and blowing our fucking family up, you know? So maybe
We're
like
giving you position. All we ask for is money. There's always more money to be had. Positions are hard to come by.
Yeah. So now that we know she's a Barnett and not just a front, she is not at all like she does not seem intimidated at all by your sudden presence behind the other dumpsters. Like, yeah, sure.
the terrifying presence of Jesco.
Yeah.
Behind the corner, right?
Okay. So with a stress to one stress to help to give you an extra die.
Yeah, and I'll push myself for a 2 stress, right? To get 2 dice.
Yep. So that's 2 dice. Do you have the dice handy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, that's a 3. I mean, it's a 2 even. That's 2 bad rolls.
Okay.
I think. I mean, what we're asking for here is, I think, essentially like to make our job have payment, like money attached to it rather than just killing someone,
Yeah.
So I guess on the miss here it's probably along the lines of like, well, we won't kill you for interfering, but we're not going to pay you or something, right? Like, or whatever.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think maybe the deal doesn't really seem like that terrible, right? But it's and I think
we
maybe
seem like we're gonna go through with it one way or another, right? Like
yeah, like you seem a bit too keen. Like you're gonna do it anyway, so we could just sit back. But I think maybe she kind of recognizes that really, you don't have a chance in hell without some material support, and maybe most of it is, the gear, the access to the gear, right? All that ordnance that you'll need to really make a dent.
Can I suggest a condition that they've put on us as well?
Yeah.
Got to be public. Everyone's got to see Carter go down.
Okay.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
Listen, I'm angling my way towards. We can't just blow up his car as he gets into it at the garage, and it's very simple and sly. We've got to hit him on the road in his vehicle convoy, which may give our mover place to shine as well, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Um.
And maybe part of like the Uno reverse here is like we know it was you guys who pulled that stunt at the casino. Like,
oh shit, yeah.
Like you owe us more than one here, so you've got to do it on our terms.
Yes, I think like she kind of maybe stubs out her cigarette and says, "I mean, we know you don't need the money. You're pretty flush right now, huh?"
Don't know what you're talking about there.
Well, some people make a killing at the casino.
This has been known to flip a couple cards in the blackjack, yeah.
Malcolm's out in like on the side street, like idling in this car with the nitrous underneath, like wrapping his fingers on the steering wheel.
But if you have cause to celebrate at the end of this 4th of July display, why don't you take over the old neighborhood and you just leave Adamstown in general to us?
Attractive offer. Yeah. What would you need from us out of this deal?
Well, I guess you can pay a little stipend. You might need some protection from the heathens.
The heathens are not our favorite people, no. And I don't think we are theirs.
Mm. It's a
What
thinly
leverage do you,
veiled threat.
the heathens are under the Barnetts? Am I remember that right?
They're under the Carter mob.
Yeah, they
Okay.
are kind of cooperating with the Carter.
So well, what leverage do you have over the heathens?
Oh, we're big enough not to be squashed like a bug.
You saying that there's a bug in the field right now?
Listen, you want the fucking Carter gone, right? We want Carter gone. Your no drama bullshit isn't getting it done, is it? You know, you're stuck on the other side of your lines. He's stuck on the other side of his. He's taking you down bit by bit by bit. And all because you gave him too much of a free reign. You didn't squash him when you should have done at the chance. And now he started squashing other people. Like, fuck it. You take Adamstown. I don't give a fuck. Right?
Sure.
Because your no drama isn't going to be Carter. It's going to be better, right? And the heathens, I don't fucking give a shit about them either.
Hope giving away the entire farm here.
Yeah. The heathens, I don't give a shit about them. You know, like what, you think that we can't take them? The heathens? Please. Fucking assholes on bikes.
Sure. We'll leave them to you then.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we already rolled, right? So it's already going.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
This is why it goes badly, right? Like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You just be ready to take it over and you take his people down, right?
Yeah, you got it. Any idea of timing?
My people will call your people, Stacy.
Okay, well,
Here's my card.
I say that, here's my card, and I flick the joint at right at the end of the joint. This is why I got.
So we'll
zero
deliver
connect,
we'll deliver a box to you, the number 7, next day or two.
Nice.
Wish I could say it's been a pleasure. As I fade back in the doorway with nowhere to go afterwards.
Like she walks back inside to the pharmacy and leaves you to make your too cool for school withdrawal back.
Your
back
weird
to
getaways.
MPH.
Yeah.
I mean, the weird getaways, I think, walking out of the alleyway and like being honked at by a passing car and just swearing at them right as we jump into Malcolm's.
Is there I guess on a 1 to 3, yeah, don't learn much about the situation, maybe even misunderstand what they're. Yeah, I guess you have a free hand, right? And you get the gear, and everything else is a bit muddy, or you're not coming out ahead of this on any kind of ledger except revenge.
Yeah, we're not getting the payday that I'd hoped to secure from the mob, the Barnett mob. Basically, we're just going to get political support as opposed to material, like monetary recompensation for our services rendered. But yeah, I mean, living in an area where the boss is not coming for us is a step up from where we are currently.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how Hope is selling it. To the others.
We
have to do this. We've got no option. Carter made us do this, clearly.
Back us into a corner.
Yeah.
A bug with a detonator, they call that a firefly.
Okay. Ian, any idea for MPH?
I'm sure that everybody in the neighborhood knows where Baron Carter holds court, right? He doesn't make a secret of it. I think that we, if our sort of condition is that we need to do this in public, and maybe hit them on the main drag of town or something. I want to see if I can sabotage some of their vehicles. I want to see if I can like get in and slash a few tires, in the parking lot or whatever.
Yeah, so that seems a little bit more like prep or something in a flashback than gather information.
Okay.
But and I think from the kind of project that Hope was doing last time, you have like all the details on like which cars they have typically, and like what the routes are and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, we have the movements of the car. We know enough about the car. There's a way of, I think I just said I wanted it just as like a fictional positioning to plant a bomb somewhere that would hit the car. Like we know their movements, we know the different cars, the fleet that they use, kind of thing.
Right. In that case, I'm sort of drawing a blank as to what kind of information we need.
Well, it depends, right? Because I actually think that just quietly planting a bomb in Baron Carr's car is not that interesting a job.
It's not that good.
Like it would be a quiet job. We'd slip in, we'd plant the bomb, and we'd slip out again, right?
Yeah.
One option. Or we contrive some way of hitting his convoy of vehicles when it is diminished from like the weak point in his movement in transit, right?
Right.
And we have a badass in theory the plan is to like hit him with an IED and then shoot, like finish him off kind of thing, because we can't rely on the IED like we do a whole Afghanistan style thing kind of stuff, Iraq kind of style thing. But yeah,
it could also be the case that he doesn't have a regular route. He varies it up every time.
So
we have to plant the bomb somewhere, and then we have to figure out a way to draw him to the location.
That's a good idea. So,
but I think the headline is in the case of what's the job that we want to do, right? Our goal is to kill Baron Carter.
Right.
Our means is the way it is basically establishing what we'll be doing when we make our first roll, right? Our fortune roll or whatever it's called. Engagement roll. Because if we say that the job is about luring him to a specific place, then the engagement roll is about how well that luring goes, right? Whereas if we say the job is about hitting him on the road, we take it for granted that we've managed to effectively lure him into a place, and the engagement roll is how effectively we lured him, how effectively we split off his friends or whatever, right? Did we hit him with that first bomb? And likewise, if we were doing the slip it in quietly, the engagement roll is how far along the slipping the bomb in do we get? Slipping in through the gates, or do we put the bomb in the car and now it's about getting away and triggering it, sort of thing?
Okay, in that case, here's what I'll do to gather information. I want for us to be able to do this, and I know that Hope maybe doesn't place so much of a regard on her life or her future, but I want to get in and do this and make sure that we can get away afterwards. So I want to see if we can find a place that is both public and also is like in a blind spot of traffic cameras, a place where we won't necessarily be surveilled while we are doing this.
Yeah, sounds good. So this seems like survey, maybe?
Yeah.
Unless you have some kind of, guidebook to your, or some kind of map handy of, CCTV and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I wonder if I could Hmm.
Remember, the other thing is you can definitely like get some help from one of your friends, like
Yeah.
Richmond or Chester or maybe even Gonzalez, even though he's relatively straight.
Yeah.
Might be able to help you on that. They know the lay of the land.
Right. I think that I think I'm gonna interface with Richmond here. And I think Richmond is like one of Dad's old associates who we don't really like to, like um uh uh I don't know, is maybe more of like an unsavory like I think probably what happened is like Dad opened the lucky number 6 and the lucky number 7 as a way of trying to go straight, right? As a way of trying to like get out of a life of crime. And uh Richmond is like a reminder of those sort of bad old days.
Why is he like your friend as opposed to anyone else in the family's friend? Like, what kind of relationship do you have with them?
Um well, Gonzalez taught me how to drive, but Richmond taught me how to boost. Um that's that like I and for a long time like that was how MPH like got pocket money. And once Dad passed, like um was able to like provide for his sister, was like that's how he learned how to steal cars, I think. um does that feel
Yeah,
appropriate?
sounds good.
Yeah.
Um,
So Richmond is like um uh I think that was his line of endeavor was um automotive automotive crimes. And so a knowledge of like where the like the blind spots are is a
yeah,
good
yeah. So I think we see like you and Richmond in like a car, one corner or another corner, or maybe even in a parking lot, and he's like pointing out um, traffic cameras, but also some of the stuff the PD have put in to look at specific neighborhoods that are well known for car thievery.
right.
So yeah, he kind of gives you a good sketch of like good egress points from wherever you're going to be hitting Carter. Um, or at least that is the plan. Let's
Right.
see a roll.
So this is what one.
Uh,
I normally have no points in survey.
yeah, so you're getting an extra one for help from your friend,
Okay.
and you could push
I'll
if you want.
push. Yeah, and I mean I guess we don't do what devil's bargains on a gather information.
Uh, you could, yeah, for sure. Um,
If you have one in mind.
um, if Sabine was here, I would definitely be calling on an unfriendly cop to notice you do like looking at
Honestly,
this.
like I'm okay with that. I think probably um uh
Just don't kill him before your cleaner has a chance to do that.
yes.
Hey, any ultra-violence to him should be done in a way that establishes fictional space for him to pop up at a later date, right? Like the
Right.
Joker, You can unload your machine gun at the Joker, but it'll hit the petrol tank behind him and blow up the car rather than riddling with bullets, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean honestly I think that Richmond is just like had to retire, or maybe is even in like witness protection or something.
Okay. Yeah.
And so is very, very closely watched.
Um, yeah, I think attention from Deputy Mueller at this point in time means that he knows you're going to be on a job, and he knows you got a stack of cash back at the lucky number 7. So he is going to not use that opportunity to do some law enforcement, but for doing some cut out the blackmail or extortion and go straight to the ransacking the lucky number 7 and looking for the cash he knows you got laying around. So maybe that's too much, but yeah, I think he's gonna find some of the cash back at base.
I think as a player, we're sort of at the point where we can't go home again, and the lucky number 7 is like has been sort of like the ghost of home for a while and hasn't really been sort of like ever since Dad passed. I honestly think if some harm comes to it, or if like, I don't know, if it gets blown up at the end of this job or something, like that would be a pretty fitting conclusion. So yeah, I'll definitely take that.
Okay. So that
also, I want to say for the record that Richmond, can I cast Richmond as somebody?
Yeah, sure.
Richmond is played by Bruce Campbell.
Okay.
Never a bad choice.
Always a good casting. Yeah.
Specifically his character from Burn Notice, I think. Okay, so that's what, 2 dice?
0, 1 for friend, 1 for Devil's Bargain, right? So that's 2.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
That's a 5.
Yeah, that is pretty good. Mixed info. The PC learns about the situation, but is still missing a significant piece of the puzzle.
Right, because Richmond's retired.
And so maybe there's some new points of state surveillance on the roads.
Right. They got drones these days,
Yeah. I think you probably have like 90% of the picture. You got like a couple of good escape routes. So it's going to be either something like exactly where you hit, depending on the engagement roll, is like not somewhere you have easy egress out of. Maybe you need to take a detour where you wouldn't otherwise, or some hotshot in the sheriff's office, or maybe even in Baron Carter's has a drone, to really throw the cat and the pigeons. Okay. But yeah, Richmond, like, you're pretty confident in Richmond's ability, and you get some kind of funny stories about Poppy,
right.
Even if they're not casting anyone in a good light, they're kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think there's some sort of thematic resonance here, because it's like dad tried to escape, and in the end, the only way out of this situation is like through the means that Dad didn't want for us,
Yeah.
So sorry, Dad, but got it. We got to do things in our own way.
Not the first time you disappointed him.
Not going to be the last either, huh? Awesome.
Yeah, MPH really refers to how fast Dad is spinning in his grave. RPM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, how about Jesse? You got
Yeah. So I think so. David Ruiz, owner of Swerve Records, used to be a wicked drag racer on the street back in the day. I think he might be buddies with Carter's drivers, and might be able to. I want to try to convince him. I've got just a little, not even a whole hit, like a third of a hit of acid that I just want him to just drop her into Carter's driver's beer at the bar the night before, just enough that stuff lasts a long time. The next day he's just a little off, something's not quite right. He didn't, some threshold, he's not seeing dragons coming out of the walls or anything, but
just a little nudge,
even though I'm sorry,
a little nudge.
A little nudge, yeah. Doc Ellis may have pitched a perfect game, but he walked a lot of dudes along the way. You know, I'm guessing it should be enough to throw the driver off the game. So I'd like to go to try to convince normally straight-laced David Ruiz to make a strong choice.
So I guess the gather information here would be, you know, maybe get Ruiz to like, you know, show you the club,
yeah,
show
I
you
want to know who, or even like maybe
show you
I'm
the
in
drivers
bar,
the night before. Right?
I want him to try to tell me which one is Carter's personal driver.
Yeah. And so then like the dropping something in one of their drinks would be like a flashback that you unveil during the job, right?
Sure.
But like knowing the bar, knowing the driver is the gathering information, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So that seems like what do you think? Connect or
probably
direct? Are you like kind of cajoling Ruiz into this if it's something he's not entirely comfortable with doing?
I mean, I think so. So cajoling would be more direct, or well, connect. I mean, so I think I'm trying to. Connect. Honesty, emotion, reason versus direct. I don't think I have the leverage to direct him.
Okay.
I have the same bonus one way or another. But I think I'm trying to like, hey, you know, like David, I got Baird to do that showcase for you the other night. She came in, she dropped she did a full set. She was supposed to be there for 15 minutes. She was there for an hour and 20. You know, there were people, you know, waiting at the club afterwards for her autograph. That whole place was lit up. You know, it would have been a dead night. How much booze did they sell at that bar thanks to there being you know, being live entertainment that night? You know, what I just need you to do this. I just need a name. I need to know who it is, what they look like, and what bar are they at. That's all I need to know. Nobody's going to know where that information came from. As far as I know, as far as anybody knows, you got nothing to do with any of this. And don't you worry your little head as to what the consequence of this may be. Certainly won't see it on the 6 o'clock news.
So are you swaying a little bit into hustle there? I mean,
well, maybe. I mean, I think I'm usually hustling. I mean, I have better numbers for hustle. That's true. So there might be a little bit of hustle here.
Because I think you started with the kind of, you know, you owe me, I've done all this stuff for you, and then it was at the end, it was like, you know, classic Jesco kind of, you know, fast talk. So yeah, I think. Okay. I guess depending on whether you want to be manipulating him or just appealing to his emotion, right? That's the
no. I think I'm manipulating.
Okay.
I think I'm. You know, I think I'm trying to hustle here. Okay. Because you know, if I'm promising, oh no, you're never gonna hear about this again. There's no consequences. I know full well that that's bullshit.
Yeah. So yeah. I guess you're rolling 2 dice. You're getting an extra die for bringing in no. Are these? He's not an associate of the. He is just like a friendly faction.
He's just a civilian.
Yeah.
You know, but if I could,
but I guess if you're like,
can I get my
Mouth
of the South bonus?
Oh yeah. So remind us of your rhetorical style.
Yeah, that's the shit slick or slick as shit and fire and spit. The fast talking, you know, making the next point before you can have a chance to object to the last.
Right. Yeah. It's sort of just like overwhelming rhetoric, right? Like,
yeah, it's more trying to drown you than to convince you. Yes. Look at everything I've done for you. I got you money, I got you a show, I got you laid. I might have some information that Mrs. Ruiz would be interested to hear if you don't if this conversation doesn't go my way. He says, stealing an entire scene out of the Blues Brothers.
So yeah, I think you should roll those 3 dice, and we'll see how bamboozled David Ruiz is.
2 1s and a 3.
Oh, wow.
Not very.
Not very. Yeah. So I think maybe, Jesse steps over the line there with the whole, I'm going to talk to your wife about the things I know. And maybe you see some of the old David Ruiz Hellraiser himself, and he's a tall guy suddenly. He's a bigger guy than you, and he says, Jesse, I'm getting old. My hearing must be going because I know you didn't just fucking say that.
I crossed the line.
You go to the Old Bell on 4th and see what reception you get there. So he gives you a name of a bar, which may be, kind of in the middle of the Carter territory, right? Maybe you know it. Maybe you usually stay away from it.
Sure.
But he's sending you in a location without anything else to go on, right? And that's kind of dangerous, right?
Got it.
So that will make your flashback a little bit dangerous, right? Or maybe just a little bit expensive in terms of stress.
Sure.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm just looking at our time. I think we should take a break. Okay, so I guess it is time to consider the crew's approach. Whether you're going in hot or cold. I mean, it seems like such a pointless question. I know the answer is going to be hot, right? Especially now that you've all that sweet ordnance to think about.
I mean, it's obviously not the sensible idea, but I didn't start playing this game because I wanted to be sensible.
Yeah.
We chose a
playing a hazard playbook in the Hellraiser crew. Sensible is a million miles away.
By the way, don't feel obliged.
Because you chose not to go insensibly.
Yeah.
I feel that, when John Harper says in Blades in the Dark, you've got to play your character like you're driving a stolen car, there's a kind of genre divide there. Now we're actually driving stolen cars, so I feel like we've got to go one level higher than that.
Stolen cars with rocket launchers.
Yeah.
Whatever 11 is in this metaphor, we're twisting the dial to it.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's just be clear about the target and goal. Right? The target is Baron Carter, and not just the crew, like the guy. And the goal is to publicly blow the shit out of him.
Kill him.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty good.
Kill him in a way that leaves no doubt. Basically,
The biggest problem is going to be proving that it was actually him based on the lack of physical evidence afterwards.
Yeah.
Or the dispersal.
They can do incredible things with denture records these days,
Yeah.
True.
I mean, I'm all for the game when Donna runs Mask set in Seco Creek, right? And Baron Carter is the disfigured villain hiding behind a mask.
Sure.
Just you wait.
Right.
It's funny because we were playing Nahual on Sunday, and Rich was talking about how he really wants to do one Mexican city where you play Nahual, Passions de la Passions, and Cartel in the same one, yeah. And I was like, a bit like Seco Creek and Copperhead. like we're doing here. Yeah.
Yeah, as luck would have it, we're gonna get him right as like a chemical tanker is gonna be driving in the other direction, and just gonna
Yeah,
everybody's gonna get mutant powers.
yeah. You thought that Baron was just a nickname, right? But I'm actually from Latveria.
That's right.
All you
Okay.
killed was a car bot.
Yeah.
That may be a bit too niche of a joke.
No. The life model decoy of.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So mark Haas on your sheet, and assuming that you like, I don't think you. I think in this game, it is implied that the crew is going in hot. Um, so yeah, I guess you are lugging around a lot in the at least the trunk of your car. Okay, and now we need someone to roll engagement. So let's go through the questions. You start with one die just for luck. Does the crew or PCs have any special abilities that would add +1 to this engagement roll?
Got fucking ordnance, but no, we don't have a specifically
Yeah.
added to the engagement
Okay.
roll, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
We're ignoring the higher tier question because you are insurgents, so you're not taking the penalty. Does the approach hit the target where they're weak, or does the target have any particular defense or preparation against the approach? So usually, I would say, hey, crime boss, you're hitting him in a convoy. That seems like preparation, but like your homework last week is kind of, you have the crib sheet on all that. So
I'm willing to say that this is not hitting him particularly where he's weak, but it's also hitting him not where he's strong, right?
yeah.
Sometimes weak is a matter of perspective, right? There's probably better places to hit him if we were a more measured and steady crew, but that'd be months down the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, nobody got time for that.
Does the environment, such as the location's geography, time of day, boost the crew's approach, or are time and tide hindering the efforts? I mean, you're kind of doing it in public as he's moving. That's not helping. Like that whole in public thing is.
I would go with time and tide is hindering our efforts because we've got to get it done fast, right? Like no matter what we do, like we've got a 5 to X minute window before the local cops are going to be down no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And you've got to blow it when he is right at the right place. It's
the window's pretty narrow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So you're currently at 0 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Friends and associates are your last hope of a die. Are they helping your preparations?
Yes.
Rui did not.
Who is helping? I want to know.
I mean, Stacy delivers us the ordnance, right? Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm not sure we'd call her a friend.
I mean, I feel like having the ordinance is the assist there, right?
I'd be willing to pay cash to the crooked cop that has us on his radar to just be like, look, you liked what you took so far. Here's another taste, dude.
Well, when you are on this job, he is ransacking the lucky number 7 to take all your spare cash. So,
okay. Well, then no one's helping us particularly. Although wasn't that kind of we more kind of got advice, right? Like Malcolm got advice from Thingy, yeah.
No one on your friends able to help out?
I could call in a favor from my friend Chester the trucker.
An impromptu roadblock or breakdown or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that takes a small bribe, but I just need him to like block this intersection for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. I don't think that's gonna
1K turn.
I don't think that's gonna require. He's your friend. It's like, sure, I'll be on that corner I'll jackknife or whatever. Be no
Right.
problem. Okay, so you got 1 dice for
Okay.
this engagement roll.
Okay.
Sweet. And the plan is, I think that we are hitting. We're the Iraqi insurgents, right? With cars, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna hit Baron Carter's convoy of vehicles as it's driving down the freeway, sorry,
Right.
and we're gonna hit them hard, fast. And the ideal plan is that we blow up Carter's car and maybe his like his escort or whatever, right? With an IED that we've planted.
Yeah.
And then we drive in and like kill whoever's left there, confirm kill, drive off, right? Like we are in full on like IED, gun it down, get the hell out of that. That's the plan, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
Well-developed plan, if ever.
Yeah.
mhm.
And I guess you'll, depending on, what you prefer at any moment in time, you can swing in a flashback to what
Mhm.
happened before. You can be in your own cars, which you have, or you can have like all the guns in the world in the
Mhm.
back, right? So, okay, who feels lucky?
Not after
Who's
that roll.
who's done a engagement roll so far?
I think
We've only done the
Sabine did the
one.
last one, right?
Yeah, did
Yeah.
Sabine do that one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the crit.
Oh
double
yeah,
six,
the double
Right.
crit, yeah.
Jesus.
Mhm. Who's gonna roll as good as Sabine? That's the
I mean,
question.
no one with 1 die, but 1/6 will do.
I would defer to the other players just because.
Ian's the only one that didn't. You're the only one that didn't butcher your roll earlier.
You want
Mm,
to see if
Gonna try to
you
keep
want to
it-
see if that luck will hold?
yeah.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. So this is MPH going into the garage and opening like a box with lots of dust on it and pulling out Dad's old driving gloves and pulling them on.
Yeah.
Here we go. 1 die. That's a 5.
Okay.
Hey!
Not terrible. Not terrible. Things go either way. You start in a risky position.
Could have been a lot worse.
Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think let's like set the opening scene here. We see this like convoy of, I don't know, what do we think they're just like normal cars, but like, or are they kind of muscle cars? Maybe is what we see.
A muscle car, a couple of muscle cars, and one like what would it call? Not like an SUV sort of.
Like a souped up Humvee,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. Like
Sure.
that can carry like X number of guys as opposed to 3.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the muscle cars are quite small, aren't they?
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
like inside.
I mean, I think in a crew like this, there's probably only 2 guys in a muscle car. So they're bombing down the freeway, and they're not indicating, but like they are going to be turning off for their route. But Chester's truck has jackknifed there, and they go, okay, let's take the alternate route, and that allows you to time you coming up behind them with the explosion, right? And I think the explosion goes off, and I think like it catches the car that Baron Carter is in, and it doesn't flip or anything. It kind of catches it a little bit off center, and it just does a spin. Like one of its wheels is just gone, like the hood is gone, but
Crashes into the Meridian. Like
just like scrapes a big chunk off that reinforced concrete for like 100 yards as it slowly comes to a rest.
Mhm.
And maybe the first muscle car is like 100 yards down the road before it even realizes what's going on, and the other one like skids to a halt. And I think a couple of guys jump out of that muscle car, one of them is going to over to the Humvee to check in on the boss, and the other one is like staying frosty. So, Ian, do we want to give MPH the lead on the follow up, or do you want to crash in after the other ones? The others have shot their bolt.
Yeah, sure. I'll do this. Are we all in separate vehicles, or are some people riding with me?
We should find that out when it's mechanically pertinent, right?
Okay. Okay. In that case, I think that oh man. What I think what I want to do is have MPH come in and sort of like drift to a stop and sideswipe this guy who's making his way to the Humvee.
Okay, so you're like threading a needle in between these two kind of cars that are, maybe a lane apart or whatever, but like, just like cut them down.
Yeah.
Wow, that's harsh.
What do you think? What do you think that would be? Is that
it's risky because that's where you've ended up,
right?
Because the risk is you're going to clip one or the other car, lose control of your own car, and end up in a world of hurt, right?
Right.
I presume you're going at full throttle, right?
I am going at full throttle. Yeah. What do you think this is? Is this handled?
Handled, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well then, let's just we don't need to spend stress yet. That's 3 dice.
Yep, 3 dice is plenty.
So, coming in hot, random goon. Here we go. That's 6.
Okay.
5 or 6 and a 1.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, tell me where you park your car right after you just smash this guy.
Yeah. I think that this is sort of like like drifting to a stop and kind of like hitting the guy with the rear end of the car as it like swings around.
And maybe this is an overpass. Maybe he just like goes off the the side, right?
Sure, yeah, we're raising hell. I'm basically, I'm positioning myself here to provide some cover for the rest of the team to come in, because there's still those other muscle cars like down the freeway.
Yeah.
I want to like interpose the car here in between them and the Humvee.
Okay. Well, that's a home run. How are you going to follow that up, Hope?
Oh, well, I mean, like those cars, right, as they race up the motorway towards us, right, there's clearly guys like leaning out of the window, like unfolding like an SMG, right, like any.
Yeah.
And I like to do a little flashback, I think, to having climbed up the billboard that's overlooking this stretch of the road, like, by the side of it, and it's got along the side of it, like tree law, call I can only think of Jesse then. As I was like, what's an American name? Jesse. Yeah.
Harold.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. But it's like the Better Call Saul type billboard, right? Like, because apparently every county in America has got its own version of Better Call Saul, who's just like the lawyer.
Several, typically.
Yeah, in competition with each other, and she's underneath that little like face, and she pulls off the the blanket that she's been had over her and hefts the rocket launcher up to her shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you've got a rocket launcher, why not?
You gotta, RPG is mandatory in this kind of situation.
So maybe a point of stress for the flashback.
A point of stress for the flashback. How early do we think Hope got up here?
Oh, I think like like at night, basically. Like Hope has spent the night out here. Yeah, like waiting.
So do we see like like if Hope were a different person, I'd say like a flask or something like that. But maybe it's a flask of booze, or maybe like candy wrappers.
You see a thermos, and then you see a hip flask next to it, right? Like, yeah.
The thermos is for the hot water to add to the whiskey.
Yeah, hot toddies. That's all you need.
Okay. Awesome.
So I will mark the 3 slots for a RPG launcher.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious that the way you get a combat, same way you can earn the upgrade for a combat armor, like, bulletproof vest, is that you also get a rocket launcher if you want it.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you're serious about fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that scene from Inception where Tom Hardy says, "You mustn't be afraid to think bigger, darling." Like,
so this seems like Hunt, right? You're on a sniper's perch, albeit with a rocket launcher, right?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, the way I've set it up is more like Hunt, isn't it? Actually, rather than fight. Fight would be more.
Because fight is up close and personal, right?
fight would be if you have a rocket launcher at point blank range.
You know what? Sorry to script change, right?
Yep.
But I definitely want it to be fight. I think that I am in that car with, Malcolm screeches that car to a halt, right? And they're screeching up towards it. And that's when, like the door gets kicked open and stepping out of it is Hope with a rocket launcher.
Okay. Well, that does not require a flashback. So
no, I know. So I'll take the point of stress back. Yeah.
Are you I hope you're in the back seat, right? Because I imagine like the window comes down, the warhead of the RPG launcher goes out, and you've got the other window open for the back blast, right? Because that will kill.
I am stepping out of. The car door kicks open, and me sprinting a few steps forward and kneeling down and crouching, right, and like going like, come on, as they come down, and I've got like a piece of red tape on like the viewfinder where I think that they need to line up with for this to work.
I mean, kind of like you are, I don't know, 5 yards away.
They're coming up the road, definitely.
Well, no, sorry. So the Humvee, sorry, you hitting the Humvee, or are you hitting like the muscle car coming back, or following up?
Whichever is the guy that's coming closest is the muscle car, right? Actually.
Yeah. So like you are like basically parked in between one muscle car and the Humvee, and then there's the muscle car that went up ahead, which is now kind of turning back to come at you. Okay. So I guess you've got like, Carter right there, right next to you, and then the car coming, the muscle car coming back with the cavalry, let's call them.
I'm hitting the cavalry.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway.
And I think like for fight, you gotta wait till you see the whites of their eyes, right?
Exactly.
You gotta see the fear as they realize that you have a fucking RPG, right?
Yeah. This is some army surplus shit, right? Like it's like a 1950s like Korean War model.
Okay,
like,
right.
Yeah. We'll call it a law, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so fight.
Fight, which I decided I didn't. I know I said I put it in trend, and I was like, it's the last session, just put it in fight. I don't want to run away from things. I want to fight things. Like, cool. So that's 2. I'll take a Devil's Bargain.
Okay. The back blast is gonna damage MPH's car. It's gonna rattle something.
Ooh, no, I don't like that. No, because the cost is on it. The cost is more on MPH, and I think Hope.
Well, it's also your getaway car, right?
It's true, but I think that Hope is careless when it comes to herself, generally, but like not probably has enough care for her brother to not put him in the back blast of the rocket launcher. Okay. So I will just push myself.
Okay.
So I'll get me to 3 dice.
Let's risky, and I mean it's a car, it's moving at high speed. I think standard is good enough. I mean, if it hits, they're probably toast, but at least the car is toast.
Yeah. The plan is to remove their vehicles and disrupt them. Maybe I'm not looking to killing them all will be like a crit, right? In one vehicle or whatever, right? Like cinematic damage from a rocket launcher. It's a 5.
Okay, so the that warhead kicks off, probably hits them just before like minimum arming range, right? And like this gout of hyper hyper hot metal just like disintegrates the top half of the car, and it flips. Obviously, it flips.
Oh, maybe
Um,
and then down slightly, right, and then just boom, and then like as they approach the tarmac, kind of thing, like the video game style of you hit them with the splash damage from hitting the ground rather than the
okay.
the
So
rocket.
yeah. So like hits the ground and like pops up that propellant into the engine, and that just completely flips the car.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Huge cloud of asphalt, big crater in the freeway. Yeah.
Cars spinning up and back down the entire time.
And
right. This is our slow-mo, moment. Yeah.
The director planned it out too, so you don't get that spacing between the frames. It's shot in a high frame rate, so you really get nice.
And Hope is just blown, like she tries to, like she fires and she's got a big grin on her face, and then oh shit, boom, she gets like blown back on her ass, like from the blast.
There's going to be a consequence with this because I'm a 4 to 5 risky. So I think the other guy in the muscle car that was stopped kind of just sees this, and maybe when you're kind of taken aback, maybe in this, I don't know how amazed Hope is with this like adrenaline rush, but she's going to get shot in the back by this other guy.
Yeah, she's probably like on one knee and like picking herself up, going like, "Holy fuck!" and then like boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Right. I will resist that if I can.
Yeah, I was gonna say before that's a consequence that's there on the table, but I'm gonna give Jesse a chance to be somewhere else first.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. So there's still another car of muscle to be dealt with, right?
One car has been blown up.
One car's been blown up.
One car remains, and there's one dude that is staying frosty by it.
Yeah,
with shooting Hope.
Okay.
So it was like two cars in the Humvee, and who knows how many armed thugs there are in the Humvee. That's yet to be determined.
I want to approach the other muscle car. So first of all, I get out of the car and I'm spending my gear here on combat armor, and if you allow it, I'd like for this to be like full Hurt Locker, like bomb defusal kind of bullshit here. And I walk out with like a radio controller with a big red button and an air horn. Because I don't fight well, but I growl pretty good. And I want to come out here and be like, we got this whole thing wired with explosives. When your boss is done here, they're going to be pulling them out of the ashtray. You walk away right now, nobody's going to be the wiser. You go back to your crew, you tell them you didn't have a chance. The whole thing was smashed before you could get close to it. Just drive away.
Okay, so mark your combat armor. I mean, it's not quite Hurt Locker stuff because that is
sure.
And then
I'm imagining like Australian Outback Ranger, just like pig iron plates.
And somewhere in a blank space, put bullhorn for one.
Right. Sure, fair enough.
And let's give you some extra effect for that bullhorn. Not in this game, but in A State, there is some communication devices as equipment. But that sounds good to me. So this is risky, and as opposed to little effect, I'll give you standard effect with the bullhorn.
Okay.
Because otherwise you're talking to a bunch of people who have had their brains bounced off the inside of their skull from getting the Humvee flipped, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And growl, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So you could push for an extra die if you wanted.
100%. I got stress to burn. So that puts me at I got a die for growl and a die for stress.
Yeah.
I think that's 2.
That's 2, yeah.
All right. Oh, fucking A. 2 2s.
Oh. So, I mean, you have gained the attention of people in high places, right? So it takes 2 stress for pushing yourself.
Okay.
And yeah, I think the previously unseen people in the Humvee are coming for you, and you're obviously the leader because you have a bullhorn. All the other people have weapons or whatever, but if they take you out, so now in Hope, let's get back to your consequence. You're going to be shot in the back by the muscle car driver. He was, yeah, I think it's an SMG. I think we kind of established it. Like it's an Uzi or something, right?
Yeah, they gotta be packing serious heat, right? They're
Yeah,
escorting the boss during a time of war.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think he's gonna like give you some serious damage, like a level 2 injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think his ears are probably ringing, and there's a lot of smoke in the area, so it's not like he is just, ripping you up and down. But you're getting a couple of rounds in your back.
Yeah, it's gonna be a burst across the area. I'd like to resist that, I guess.
Sure. How do you think you're going to resist that?
So, I think I'm gonna resist that by, you know what? I'm not gonna resist that. What I am gonna do is those bullets are gonna rip into me. Luckily, I'm wearing my own combat armor.
Okay.
So I declare those are the 2 slots for combat armor, right? And that is now burned, I guess. Like it works like armor in other.
Yeah, so that is one. So combat armor, though, there is like a stab vest. So so how about it's got 2 uses?
Yeah. Oh, I see. So I'd use one of them to.
Yeah. Now you could use both. So this is giving. So I said giving you major injury, so it'll go down to a minor injury.
If I use both.
No, down to minor injury if you use one, or down to nothing if you use both.
That's great. It's the last session. Let's take that minor injury, right? It's
Okay.
cooler to like take a bullet to the vest, right? Crack one of, right? As I like roll on the ground, going like, fuck.
Yeah.
So
call it like 3 broken ribs or something like that.
Bruised ribs, right?
Yeah.
Bruised ribs and back, let's say, because he shot me in the back, right?
Yeah,
so it's like,
bastard.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's go to MPH. All hell is breaking loose here.
How far away is the guy who just shot Hope?
I think he is in a spectacular piece of luck. He is probably using the back of your car as cover. He is like, he couldn't see Hope properly from behind his car, so he's like come around to you, and maybe he assumes Hope is driving it. He doesn't look in the rear window. He's like, yards away from her.
His eyes were locked on to the person with the rocket launcher, strangely enough, right? Like,
so he's right behind your car.
Okay. Look, I'm not good at it, but I think that there's no other choice here but for MPH to yell, to holler, Hope, and he's going to get out of the car with a gun. I think probably a shotgun. I'm going to declare a shotgun and say, you son of a bitch, that's my sister, and is going to unload on this guy with a shotgun.
Okay.
I will push myself to fight.
Okay.
I will spend a stress to lend you a hand.
Okay. Are those 2 mutually exclusive? Just making sure.
No, I think it's devil's bargain
you can
and push yourself. That's exclusive.
Cool. Yeah.
How are you helping?
I'm helping by I'm going to spend my last point of equipment, right, to as I like roll on the ground, like roll over onto my back and pull out a handgun, right? So like the guy's now got threats coming from both directions.
Okay.
All right. So I'm marking 2 to my stress, and this is what, 2 dice?
Rolling 2 dice with your.
All right. Here we go. That's a 5.
Okay. It's pretty good.
Yeah, he flinches a little bit because he's never shot anybody before. And whatever complication comes of it, there's a moment where he's just like, is this actually what I'm gonna do? Is this the person that I'm gonna be? And in that split second, whatever happens.
Yeah, I mean, you shoot him and he goes down, and I don't know, does MPH have the same kind of thought process? He's like stuck there going, okay, I know he was gonna kill your sister, but like still, you just shot him dead.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's going through his head right now, right? Is like a moment of like, oh my God, that I just, kind of like holding the shotgun at arm's length, like.
Yeah. Okay. Jesse, it's time for you to reap the whirlwind, right?
Yeah. So oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, two guys jump out, and I think you see maybe like behind them, you kind of see someone who looks like Barn Carter to you, loading a shotgun or something like that. And yeah, they have Uzis too, and they just like they don't move, they just stand there and like they unload straight into you.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Boy.
So
well, I do have the combat armor.
You do have the combat armor. I
would like to resist.
You would like to resist, yeah. I think this is starting at a critical injury. This is like 60 rounds point blank at you. These guys have done this before, unlike the other guy. So that's where we start, critical injury. So yeah, you can mark your combat armor twice, so basically you can use it all to get it down to minor.
Okay.
And if you wanted, you could also try to dodge or something like that to like take some stress to reduce that off scot-free.
Yeah, I'll try to dodge to eliminate the minor injury, or maybe I'll try to dodge to save one of the combat armor slots.
Okay. So that
diving behind the median on the freeway.
Yeah.
Like...
yeah. So you're gonna one combat armor and you're dodging. So this is just going to be your minor injury. So mark the first line with an asterisk, and we'll come up with a description. To do that, I guess you are diving, right? So this is maybe Grace, or
yeah, which I have. So I've got no in Grace. I've got no tread maybe.
So you have hustle. So when we're resisting, we look at the first dot
just the first dot.
Okay. Yeah, in all of those. So you have hustle, but none of the others. So you're going to roll one die, and you're going to take that much stress.
Okay. 6. Oh. Now I get 6. Okay.
Okay.
Now, so that's the what it costs to resist, correct?
Yeah. So you just
and then if you were rolling more than one die, would you take the lowest result?
Lower. Yeah.
Got it.
And so that fills my stress track.
Okay. So that traumas you out. Okay. So you're not taking the injury, but you are basically you're gonna burn out. So you can see one of those. There's 4 checkboxes, and there's some suggestions for how you burn out. So like the burnout you have from like this situation, right? Of you not being able to talk your way out of this situation, right? It's a new feeling for Jesse, maybe. You can think about that, sure. And then so what burnout means is that basically it takes you out of the current scene, and we can see what that means, like this shootout, and if there's like a next scene maybe even if it's in this location, but moves on. We kind of reintroduce you, and all your stress is gone, and you just have this new burnout condition. So like, what did the others see? Did they like see you disappear in this like hail of bullets to fall behind the car, or?
I think it's worse than that, because I think I do jump over the Jersey barrier, and just start crawling away from the highway, which is doubly problematic because now it's I'm getting further and further from the car, which is my way out. But I don't think I'm thinking real clear, and I just went away from the men with the guns and not necessarily away to safety.
So you're going into the oncoming traffic lane, right?
Yeah, or maybe there's a Jersey barrier on the outside. I'm sort of going out and into
Well, we said it was on an overpass, right? Because Malcolm knocked.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I'm just saying that's a good place for you to and then dangle down
hang
off
on
the
to,
side, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'd rather not be putting myself into my only option here is to fall to my death situation. But yeah, maybe
there's always a passing train.
A little bit ahead, and I can
There's always a passing truck, right? Like to land in the flatbed off.
Sure.
Yeah.
Somebody's got just an open truck full of tomatoes or something.
Yeah, that sounds exactly.
I think I'm crawling down the embankment away from the highway.
Okay. Okay. I'm looking at the time. Maybe I think we should. Take a break because this is a good cliffhanger. Boom boom. Sorry. Okay.
It's you and me now, Hope.
Yeah, I think we dial this up to desperate. Maybe you see your cousin disappear in a blaze of cordite and gun smoke.
Malcolm's like staring, like shocked at the dead body of the man he's just gunned down, right? As Hope pulls herself up on the side of the car and screams like, "Jesco!" It's all chaos.
So, Will, here's a question in terms of RPG launcher.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, some of them are one-shot disposables. Some of them come with reloads. Where do we think we come down?
I think we're at the point of a one-shot, and then you have to spend some time to reload, right? Like it's not a quick process to. If I had 2 prepared rocket launchers, I'd have 2, but it's not like a
one in either hand.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, you've got like a satchel with the spare warhead in it. And it'll take some time and attention to set up, right?
But I dream of gas and gunpowder, and I get 1D to craft, repair, or modify arms and explosives, and I don't have the rocket launcher, but you just said I do have the rocket.
Yeah.
So
it's essentially a grenade waiting to happen, right?
Waiting to happen, yeah, exactly, yeah. So there's a bunch of these guys who unloaded on Jesco, the last remaining guys, right? I think.
So the 2 guys who stood out. There's probably a driver who is still not giving up on his Humvee, right? And then there's Baron Carter. Baron Carter,
I've imagined as kind of like, bleeding from some stylish cut on the eyebrow, right? Like with some, I'm imagining Baron Carter as having a huge mustache, a big old mustache, right? And like mutton chops maybe. And he's just like reloading his like trademark shotgun kind of thing. I don't think I want to get
soggy stub of a cigar still clenched between his teeth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't think I want to get Baron Carter here. I think I want to take out like the goons,
Okay.
Like, so I'm wondering if I can roll fix to use tools and techniques to create specialized effects and essentially, toss that rocket and I don't know, shoot it at just the right, or maybe I don't know, so whatever
Yeah, yeah.
style.
I think the challenge here is being inside the area of effect.
Yes, yeah, definitely, yeah, 100%. You know what? I think it's not me shooting it. I think it is me using my gun, like the back of my gun, right? Like the most impromptu
Okay,
thing to
to
bash,
trigger
like,
it.
yeah, to bash
Yeah.
like the arming pin, and then
Okay.
like counting down quickly as I do, like 1, 2, 3, oh, fuck, like, you know.
So I think that will probably hurt your hand.
Hmm.
I'd be happy to make that a devil's bargain to have, you um make one of your hands like unusable till you get proper medicine, like burnt hand or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I guess what it could be is I have to jam my fingers in, right? So like I cut my hands up onto like a pin that I've had to yank out of one side of the rocket launcher to get this thing going or something, right? Like covering.
Well, I'm like
Oh,
when this goes off, there's going to be this like
mm,
back blast. It's
There's the
yeah,
rocket
yeah,
part
yeah.
of it,
The
right?
rocket
Yeah.
part. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that
yeah,
is usually like opening up like 3 feet behind your head at that exhaust. But in
yeah,
this case, it'll be like right where your hand is.
yeah. Why not?
Um,
I'll take a burned hand.
yeah. Uh, okay.
And then throwing it overhand like a football.
So that is 2 dice for fix, 1 die for the devil's bargain, 1 die for fire in the hole, right?
Yes.
And I guess when you cause an explosion, you can make it either inflict increased damage or affect an increased radius. You don't want to increase radius because that will engulf MPH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a 6.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
And I will take the increased damage part of that, I think, as you know, I think it's just a spray. You know, like
I mean, like it goes through one guy, and I think maybe he does this John Woo balletic thing where he just like loses control of his body. His submachine gun like rips his buddy in half before he loses grip on it, and like it hits the Humvee, and like the Humvee is now a complete write-off.
oh, the Humvee like spins, right? Like knocking Carter like on his ass, right? As he's like crouched down behind it, and it goes like, ugh! And he's not like dead or anything. He's just sort of like, caught in the kind of chaos of it all. Cool.
This is the moment like in the movie or TV version of this where like the score is like building up to like an important moment, and then at the moment of impact it's just like silence, just ringing,
Yeah, I mean no one can hear anything, right? So we've gone into that kind of hyper realistic hum of just as people talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
MPH, what are you doing? You're standing here, in this carnage. You can kind of see Baron Carter in like on his ass in the footwell of the Humvee.
Yeah. I think we have to run him over with the nitrous.
I mean, this nitrous has got to be explosive, right? You could like strap him to it.
Well, I mean, you got to remove it from the car first.
Yeah, but details.
How about, right? Baron Carter is in that well of the car, right? And he's sort of pulling himself out, and Hope is like, kind of like on the ground, like next to MPH's car as well, right?
Right.
MPH could grab Hope into the car, right, and like throw her into the seat as she's like screaming and fighting him, and then he jumps into the front seat, and she's like, "No, we gotta fucking finish him! We gotta fucking finish him!" And then that's when we see through like one of the mirrors or the door, the windscreen, right, is like, yeah, we're in the car now. Like we could use that to kill Baron Carter instead. I don't know, like just to provide fictional thing for being able to use the nitrous car to sort of run down Baron Carter.
Well, I don't know. I think we might need the nitrous to get away.
The nitrous is the getaway, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I've just, listen, I've got more points on my gear list. I'm gonna declare a frag grenade and throw a frag grenade at him as I get Hope into the car, right? Like those are the same sort of motion here, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, do you want like mechanical certainty, right, that Baron Carter is dead, or do you just want to like throw the grenade and drive? That's the question.
Okay, so if we are coming back to this and we want for Sabine to be in on it, I feel that seeing Hope having burnt her hand and being shot, seeing that Jesco is like out of commission, I think MPH is making the executive decision here to do as much damage in an indiscriminate way as he can, and then get out of the situation. And if that leads to friction between MPH and his sister and Jesco in the future, then so be it.
Okay,
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
So yeah, like you chuck the grenade, you drive, and I think maybe we see Jesse like head pop up on the other side of the Jersey barrier. You like stop and reverse to let him back in.
Right.
I think I called it Chester.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea of me just being out of sight and you guys being like, hey, we gotta go. I don't see him. I don't know where he is.
Yeah.
I think if you were here, then that would put you back in the scene, though, and into a new scene that we are now having in the back of the car, right? Like,
sure.
Mechanically,
Okay,
yeah. Because if you were Chester, then you're out of the scenes entirely, right? Whereas
I thought I was mechanically out of the scene entirely.
Yeah, I mean, like when they pick you up to drive, I think that's a new scene, right? So,
got it.
It's any way you could have had the long cut, right? Like, because after that fight, we can now have the like black and then back from adverts, gunning it away from the, the thing.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think the shot, the camera's down low on the ground, and I think you see the student driver bumper sticker, and the wheels peel away with the smoke coming off.
Yeah, burning rubber to get out of there. Yeah.
Cool. So, mayhem pending. I'm sure someone driving on their peaceful commute on the other lane has called the cops, who are coming here for sure. So yeah, this is a full throttle getaway.
And Hope's like yelling at her brother, like, "Did you fucking see him dead? Did you see it? Did you see him die?"
Yeah. Shut up, Hope. Let me focus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, what do you think this is? Handle again?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Okay.
And full throttle, maybe.
So now we're like on the other.
There is a fleet of
there's
coming in this direction, I imagine, given the amount of explosives that have gone off.
And there's a median on the freeway, right?
Mm.
So we have to be going back the other direction against traffic.
Okay.
So
some real heat.
Yeah, unless there's an off ramp, in which case I would be doing it on the side streets, which is just as dangerous in its own way.
This is a desperate situation, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, if it's desperate, we're against traffic for sure.
We can't even take the first exit because Chester's in the way.
Chester's on that.
So yeah, sure. I'll push myself for this, and then the extra die to keep control, clear obstacles, or pull cool moves.
Yep. So it's 4 dice.
4 dice, yeah.
I'll help you out as well. Why not? It's the last thing.
Yeah.
Can I do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll add a point of stress to me, and I'm helping you out by like pulling out like the paper, like the roadmap from it, right, and yelling like directions as you go, like there's this thing coming up in 10 yards, like.
Right, sure, yeah, it's like rally driving, right? Where you have to have those call outs, or else you're not going to be able to react in time.
Although, given that it's a family, I think it's got to be. No, you should have taken.
Okay, so this is 5 dice.
5 dice, yeah.
Dear dear God, please, in heaven, let us get out of this situation alive. It's a 5.
Okay.
5 in total.
So yeah, whenever you're rolling desperate, you should also be marking some XP in that abilities
Yeah.
area. It's
So in this case, that's what grit.
Grit, so yeah, complication.
Desperate complication.
Well, it's a consequence.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're totaling the car, right? I think this car is gonna not survive. You have a couple of clashes with oncoming traffic,
Totally.
and I mean, it limps out of there. It gets you home, but
I'd like if possible like a climactic exit for the nitrous car. I would like to do a Blues Brothers jump.
Off ramp.
Yeah, I think there's an unfinished on ramp or off ramp, and I want to.
That's got to be the point, right? Where I go like left, and you go right instead, and I'm like, what the fuck, Malcolm? And you're like, trust me, I got this.
Right.
But it's like, but this map shows that this isn't finished, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And just my head sort of slowly come up and look out the window, and then just go slowly back.
Right. And this is where the Freebird solo is coming in, as like Hope's voice is just fading away, and MPH is just like in the zone.
So when you come back and land, like the chassis is like cracked, from that landing, that hard landing.
Yeah, totally.
So that's how it gets totaled. Yeah, awesome. And obviously, like, the cops aren't going to follow you or anything. It's too soon to have a helicopter on standby, even if they have one. It's your. So, like, where do you hole up? Where do you park to let the heat die down?
Well, I feel like we have to abandon the car, right?
Yeah.
The car might even be on fire at this point.
We burn the car, right?
It will be. It will be one way or the other.
Yeah. We just see Hope going back to her brother and going like, "Don't look, Malcolm. Don't look." Like pushing him away, just as like a fire starts to come up on the inside of the chassis, right? And I guess we're like in a like an underpass somewhere, like hidden away kind of thing, or a culvert or whatever. Like we've ditched the car, we're burning it there, right? And we're gonna like hook up with somewhere. Where do you think in Seco Creek we ended up? Maybe in the old town. We work our way back to Adamstown on foot, almost like having ditched all the shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's like I don't know what time of year it is, but I'm imagining it as like autumn right now. So like the trees are all changing and it's chilly out. And
I know, like, our bartender Hector picks us up, right? Like, pulls to a stop as we push our way through the bushes and stand by a bus stop, and then he just goes,
just like fucking just like old times, getting picked up from some mischief by Hector.
Getting picked up by Hector because Pappy had got locked up, arguing with the cops about how we were good kids, really.
And now it's the three of us like squeezed into the back seat.
So yeah, we're Chris, I want to see Jesse kind of reacting to this now that maybe the adrenaline is draining away.
So Jesse, I think literally can't stand to face things, right? Like so when the head, he was sort of like cowering down in the footwell in the back seat, and has been sort of staying down there, and is almost like needs to be dragged out of the car initially that y'all are about to burn. I think Jesse's just 1,000-miling. He looks like pictures of dudes coming back from war, just kind of that off into the distance blank face. I think from this point out, I marked, what did I mark? Nerve. I mean, I think loud noises really fuck him up. which is maybe not a thing that if you want to make the music industry work super well for you, but
Right, especially like the Memphis rap scene in particular.
yeah.
Like,
A lot of snares going off
Yeah.
at unexpected moments. And so he's just, he'd been involved in criminal stuff up until this point, but nothing like this, and clearly bit off more than he could chew, and he's trying to, just wrap his brain around what the new world that he has been born into looks like.
yeah. I mean, I feel like you and our characters are having a very similar experience at the moment. Maybe you more than me, but
I think,
like
very uncharacteristically quiet.
Yeah, but Malcolm's having almost the other way around, right? Like, because you killed a man, like several men here, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Jesse's.
I mean, I
like,
knocked a
come
guy
close
off
to
an
dying.
overpass. Like,
Yeah. That is, yeah.
oh, boy.
I think that in the car, Hope definitely like hugged Jesse, like, oh my fucking god, man, I thought you were dead. Like, I told you to shoot them, man. Like, don't try and talk to them, shoot them.
I'm not dead. Sort of looking around. He's okay. This is. I'm gonna have to make some choices after this.
Listen, we've got the cash. We take, we're gonna take that cash. We're gonna lie low. It's all gonna be fine. Don't worry about it.
Right,
And like, obviously, like at some point we're gonna cut to the ransacked Lucky Number 7, where all of our cash was, right? And we were relying on that to take us out of town for a few days, for a few weeks, right, or something.
But you guys got Carter, right? You got Carter, right?
Yeah, we got Carter. Yeah.
Okay. Just so long as this wasn't all for nothing.
Yeah, I got it.
Shit, yeah. She like fist bumps, Malcolm in the shoulder and like, fuck, yeah. Like, no way. Like, Dad would never believe this.
Yeah. Let's it's yeah, I think he's like playing off his shock like a little more than he knows he's not sure.
Yeah. Sure, like like yeah, sure, and then look just out of off camera, like no, not sure at all.
But I mean, Jesse. I mean, for what it's worth, Jesse is not capable of processing any subterfuge at this moment.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, dramatically, we all believe that to be true, right?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm good to get to the sort of like the last shot maybe being as we get into the Lucky Number 7, pull out the bag, right, and then just look over the shoulder and be like, oh shit.
Right.
I think you don't even see it. I think you see us go into like where it has already been established the money is, and the camera's just on the door. The light goes on in the room. You hear some noise from in there, and you just hear, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Cut to black.
Freebird starts playing.
Yeah.
These birds cannot change.
So yeah, I think that is definitely the place to cut. I'm not thinking of like a proper epilogue, but maybe like in the next day or two, like a very kind of quick catch up with each of you, just to see how you're coping, or maybe the kind of immediate fallout of this hit. Will, do you have any ideas for Hope?
I mean, our heat's got to be ridiculous at this point, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Our heat's really, really big. I think that we see Hope out in the woods, by those 303 stills, right? And clearly she's been sleeping out there, and like a helicopter, like flies over, like off in the distance over the trees, going towards Seco Creek. Clearly like not really looking for Hope, right? But like something that you wouldn't normally see around here, and like maybe like it's a news crew or something, like day 5 after the horrible attack on the highway. You can still see the signs, like Jessica coming out over the TV that she's got in this little like lean-to, and then they're swinging the 303, and that's when like like 4 guys and step in, and maybe like 3 guys and a woman step in, and the woman goes, "This is Pettimore land. Who said you could be here?" And then Hope just like smiling and lifting up the glass and like cutting across to be like, "Oh shit, here we go again," kind of thing.
Yeah, great stuff. Ian, how about MPH?
Yeah, in lucky number 7, all lights off. All like sign flipped over to closed, blinds down. And MPH is just like I don't know, is on one of those like antisocial benders, I think, of like I'm just gonna stay in bed, right? And like I'm gonna noodle on my guitar and like not get much of anything done. And I think that there's a knock at the door. Like, tell me if this is editorializing too much, Donna.
Go first.
I think there's a knock at the door, and there's like parting the blinds slightly to like to see who's there, and it's Stacy and maybe a couple of Barnett toughs, in suits, of course, but toughs nonetheless.
Yeah.
You can see the little like the sort of hints of tattoos poking out the bottom of the sleeves and up from the collar a little bit. And Malcolm, opening the door because he knows that like if he's been sort of like smoked out, like they know that he's here. So he opens the door and he's like in his bedclothes, right? Hair all tousled. And she just says like, I need a driver and you need a way, you need a way out.
Yeah, that works. Thanks, Ian. Chris, how about Jesse?
And I think we see, what do we see? I think we see Jesse at a show, and he's in the middle of a crowd. He's by all appearances there by himself, and somebody comes up on stage. Whoever the act is comes out on stage. Grabs the mic, and that like, yo, drop that beat. And as soon as the beat hits, there's probably, the drop in sound effect gunfire or something, machine gun fire, like you get sometimes. And you just see him like, go from looking enthusiastic and excited to this show to just like throwing his hands over his ears. And the
strobe lights going, right? Flashing lights.
Yeah. And the sound just gets like sort of hollower and echoier and bigger sounding the whole way as he just sort of gets freaked out by the noise and kind of is wagging his head, just trying to silence it as the booming overtakes the entire rest of the scene.
Well, that's a downer ending.
We got what we wanted, right?
Yeah. At the expense of everything else you wanted, Okay. So, yeah, I think we should leave it there. Let's stop recording and do a quick debrief. Okay.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.